So, the live action Snow White is almost here, and nobody's excited about it. Gee, I wonder why. And it's sad, because the movie could have been great, or at least good, if they focused more on improving the movie instead of trying to fix it. There is a difference between fixing and improving. Fixing is repairing something that is broken, which OG Snow White is not. And improving is to make things better. Something that could have worked for Snow White, like instead of removing the prince completely because for some reason they think romance make women weaker, add more scenes of the prince with Snow White and improves their relationship. So their romance can have more build up and more fleshed out. Instead of the prince looking like a creep that stalks Snow White. Like, I know they have this guy to replace the prince, but imagine that they went with what Rachel said about removing the prince completely because they think he's completely useless. Just add more scenes with him. Have just more build up. Add more to the character instead of just removing him. He is important because romance. And also, if you remove the prince, how was Snow White supposed to get out of her forever sleep? Like, what, was she was going to wake herself up with pure willpower? Or were they going to pull a page from the Brothers Grimm story about having one of the dwarfs drop her so she can just spit off the apple? Yes, that's a thing that happened in the original story. The original prince actually was a creep who just found her. He only appeared in the end of the story. Found her, thought she was pretty, and bought her from the dwarves. And the dwarves like, okay. And on his way back, one of his knights dropped the casket, and she sped up the apple, and she was like, oh, you saved me! And the prince is like, oh, you're alive. Want to get married? And she's like, okay. That's how the story happened. It's weird. The old Brother Grimm's tales are really, really weird, and the evil queen actually died an entirely different way. She died because the way she died was completely different because she actually got away from the dwarves and made it back to her castle, and she received an invitation from the other kingdom to be invited to a wedding. And when she got there, it turns out to be Snow White with the prince. And you know what Snow White did? Forced her to wear freshly made, so they're like freshly made iron boots, which is like very, very hot. Forced her to dance at that until she dies. Wow, that was the original story. So the second idea might have a chance in being real because despite having a guy to replace the prince, there is still a chance that Disney won't have a kiss to save Snow White or even have a guy to save Snow White at all. Have the guy to save Snow White at all. Like, what if it's the other way around and he ate the apple and Snow White is the one that had to kiss him and save him? Or maybe I'm thinking too much into it, but who knows? It's Disney. Disney does this stuff like this. I don't know. Anyways, there's not much he could have done to make Snow White better since it's a very simple story, except adding more romance. Like I said, make it more romantic because people have been dying from romance from Disney for like years. People have been dying to have romance, good romance in these movies that Disney's been spewing out, and we're not getting any. Romance should not be feared because you think it makes a girl look weak. Love can make them strong, make the story more interesting, and people love romance. I love romance. I love to see a story of genuine good relationship between two people in love because they just like being with one another. It doesn't necessarily need to be the driven of the story, like a big huge drive. Like center, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Doesn't need to be the center of the entire movie, but I genuinely want to see a good romantic story with two characters that I enjoy watching and having them both equally take down the bad guy, now one being put down the other. So the one that you want to look stronger is. You can't just put down. If you have to put one character down to make another character look better, you're doing terrible writing. Both characters needs to be equal. I want to see them in a romantic relationship because it's been a long time to see a good romantic Disney film, and I just don't want to continue seeing Disney go down anymore. It's just so hard to watch at this point. I really don't want to talk down on this movie since so many people have done it already. I don't need to be another one. I don't want to be another one. I'd be happy to show my disappointment in the whole thing, but it's hard not to get mad about something that you actually care about. You get me? The movie could have been a great homage towards the very first full-length animated film that Disney ever made. Disney himself made this movie because he truly, deeply believed that animation can compete against live action, proving that animation could be profitable. He pushed boundaries. He risked his business twice because he truly believed in his dreams. But look at Disney now, ever relying on his past to bring in money while criticizing it, without even learning why it was great to begin with. It's really sad at how these people didn't care for this movie's origin. So why should we care about this movie? I hope you liked the video. I am working on the next bonus video centering Charlie. I just need to find the right song for that. Anyways, bye.